You bought a $5 coffee. Your bank charged you $35 for the privilege, not because you agreed to it, not because you were warned, because somewhere in a document you never read, a toggle was switched on, and that toggle is worth $12.4 billion a year. $12.4 billion. That's not a fee, that's an industry. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how your bank turned your worst financial moments into their most profitable product, and why the poorest customers pay the most. The last chapter covers the bank that got caught, paid the fine, and kept doing it anyway. If you've ever overdrawn your account, this is directly about you. There was a time when banks were dull. You deposited your paycheck, you wrote checks, you got a free toaster for opening an account. The bank made money on loans, on mortgages, on the spread between what they paid you and what they charged borrowers. It was simple, it was stable, it was mostly fair. Then came the debit card, then came the smartphone, then came convenience, and convenience became the perfect cover for a fee machine. In 2010, federal rules changed. Banks could no longer automatically charge overdraft fees on ATM withdrawals and one-time debit purchases unless you opted in. They called it Overdraft Protection. They framed it as a service, a safety net, a favor. It was never a favor, it was a product, and you were the raw material. Subscribe, because next we're covering the company that made your food addictive and the story of how the sugar lobby turned breakfast into a chemical dependency. That one will make you read every ingredient label. Here's how it works. You have $12 in your account, you buy coffee for $5, then you buy gas, then groceries. The bank doesn't process these in the order you bought them. They reorder them, largest to smallest, so your account hits zero faster. One overdraft fee, $35. Two fees, $70. Three fees in a single day. $105 for purchases that totaled less than $50. And here's what almost nobody knows. The average overdraft is for $24. The average fee is $35. That's a 146% charge on a loan that lasts 3 days. If your bank was a payday lender, that interest rate would be illegal. But because they call it a fee instead of interest, they bypass every usury law on the books. In 2019, the median overdraft fee was $35. In 2024, it was still $35. Inflation went up. Wages stagnated. But the overdraft fee, frozen in time, because it was already perfect. And what I'm about to show you next is the part your bank really doesn't want you to know. Because while they were charging you $35, they were hiding the off switch behind 5 clicks and legal jargon. Open your banking app right now. Go to Settings, look for Overdraft Protection or Overdraft Coverage. It's probably green, it's probably labeled Recommended. It's probably been on since the day you opened the account. Turning it off requires navigating menus most people never open. Some banks make you call, some make you visit a branch. One major bank required customers to mail a written request in 2024. This is called a dark pattern. The easy path, the default, costs you money. The hard path, the opt-out, saves you money. And the bank knows exactly how many people will give up before they find it. A 2022 study found that 80% of overdraft fees are paid by just 8% of account holders, mostly low income, mostly paycheck to paycheck, mostly people who can't afford to lose $35. The bank isn't protecting you from embarrassment. They're harvesting the desperate. And they don't just charge once. Some banks charge multiple fees per day. Some charge extended overdraft fees if you don't pay within a week. Some reorder your transactions to maximize the number of fees. That's not banking, that's farming. This is where the story gets genuinely disturbing, because it wasn't just one bank doing this, it was every bank. And the government knew and did almost nothing. In 2019, Americans paid $12.4 billion in overdraft fees. That's more than the entire GDP of Iceland, more than the global box office of every Marvel movie combined, for the privilege of spending money you didn't have for 3 days. For the big banks, overdraft fees aren't a side business, they're a core revenue stream. JP Morgan Chase collected over $1 billion in overdraft fees in 2020 alone. Bank of America, $800 million, Wells Fargo, $600 million. During the pandemic, when unemployment spiked and people were desperate, Some banks temporarily waived overdraft fees, then quietly reinstated them, because the fees were never about risk management. They were about profit extraction from the most vulnerable. Here's what almost nobody reports. Overdraft fees account for more than half of all bank fee revenue. More than ATM fees, more than account maintenance fees, more than wire transfer fees. The protection product is the bank's most profitable line item. And when regulators tried to cap the fees, the banking lobby spent millions fighting it. In 2024, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau proposed a rule limiting overdraft fees to the actual cost of covering the transaction, estimated at $5 to $10. The banking industry sued before the ink was dry. They weren't protecting their business model. They were protecting a $12 billion tax on poverty. Stay with me. The last chapter is the one that changes how you look at your bank statement forever. Because the bank that got caught, paid the fine, and promised to change never stopped. In 2016, Wells Fargo was caught creating 2 million fake accounts without customer consent. Employees opened credit cards, checking accounts, and lines of credit, then charged fees on them. The goal? Hit sales quotas. The victims? People who trusted their bank. Wells Fargo paid $3 billion in settlements. The CEO resigned. Congress held hearings. It was supposed to be the scandal that changed everything.
All right, some breaking news for you. The United States CFPB has ordered Wells Fargo to pay $3.7 billion for widespread mismanagement of auto loans, mortgages, and deposit accounts. This is news that is just out. Back in November, the expectation was there would be a settlement of more than $1 billion. If that was the case, that was going to be the largest settlement on record. But again, early word on this is $3.7 billion. This is just the early opening statement from the CFPB.
In 2022, Wells Fargo paid another $3.7 billion for illegal auto loans and mortgage fees. In 2024, new violations emerged: fake insurance policies, unauthorized account modifications, continued overdraft abuses. The pattern isn't reform, it's recursion. Fine, settlement, promise, repeat. The cost of doing business is built into the balance sheet. And the customers who paid the original fees? They never got that money back. Wells Fargo isn't unique. It's just the one that got caught. Every major bank has paid overdraft-related fines. Every major bank has promised to change. Every major bank has kept the fees exactly where they were. Because the fine is the price of admission, the fee is the product. Here's what you do. Open your banking app. Go to Settings. Find Overdraft Protection or Overdraft Coverage. Turn it off. It takes 30 seconds. It will save you $35 the next time you're short. The bank won't warn you. They hide it behind menus and legal jargon. But now you know where it is. If your bank requires a phone call, make the call. If they require a written request, write it. If they make it difficult, that's the point, and that's exactly why you shouldn't quit. You can also link a savings account for overdraft transfers. The fee is usually $5 to $10, not $35. Or use a credit union, where overdraft fees are often lower or non-existent. The bank built a $12 billion machine on your worst financial moments. The off switch exists, they just don't want you to find it. In 2024, the CFPB estimated that their proposed overdraft cap would save consumers $3.5 billion a year. The banking industry responded with lawsuits, lobbyists, and a public relations campaign framing fees as consumer choice. Choice requires information. Choice requires alternatives. Choice requires that the person saying yes understands what they're agreeing to. When the default is on, the menu is buried, and the warning is invisible, that's not choice. That's a trap. Here's what almost nobody mentions. Overdraft fees are regressive. They take the most from those who have the least. A $35 fee on a $24 overdraft is a 146% charge, but only for people who can't afford to avoid it. The wealthy never pay it. They have buffers. They have credit. They have options. The bank doesn't just make money when you're broke. They make money because you're broke. And every year they keep the fee at $35. They're making a calculation that your desperation is worth more than your dignity. You didn't stumble into a trap, you were walked into it, and the door is still open. Something is watching your account. It's just not always watching out for you. Drop a comment, What's the most unfair fee your bank ever charged you? And subscribe, because next we're covering the company that made your food addictive and how the sugar lobby turned breakfast cereal into a chemical dependency. That one will make you read every ingredient label. If you haven't seen the Netflix video yet, that's the one where they made $2.3 billion in 90 days by charging $8 for password sharing. Linked right there. That's where this all started. You didn't stumble into a trap, you were walked into it. And the overdraft protection is still on.